Have you ever stumbled across someone in the rain? Someone who seemed broken, helpless, and in need of saving, only to discover later that the one you helped could change your life forever? Tonight, I'll tell you a story of a poor mechanic who never had much in his pockets but carried a heart far richer than gold, a broken bar, and how one rainy night, his kindness rewrote not only his destiny but someone else's too. The rain came down hard that evening, drumming against the tin roof of a run-down auto garage on the edge of town. Inside, Armin wiped the grease off his tired hands. He had been fixing engines since morning, earning just enough to keep food on the table for himself and his ailing mother. His clothes were worn, his shoes had holes, and his life was a never-ending cycle of work and struggle. Armin could have gone home. He could have shut the heavy metal door, left the storm outside, and collapsed into bed. But something tugged at him, an uneasiness that wouldn't let him rest. He grabbed his old umbrella, stepped into the downpour, and started walking toward the alley that cut through the heart of the slums. That's when he saw her. At first, it was only a shadow. Then, as lightning cracked across the sky, the image became clear: a young woman, drenched, shivering, and chained to a rusted pole. Her hair was plastered to her face, her lips trembling from the cold. Rain washed the dirt and tears from her cheeks. Armin's heart jolted. Who would leave someone like this? He dropped the umbrella and rushed forward. "Hey, are you all right?" Her wide, fearful eyes darted up at him. She looked exhausted, as if she had been there for hours. "Please, see broken bar, help me," she whispered, her voice breaking. Armin's rough hands worked furiously on the lock. He used a small wrench from his pocket, prying, twisting, fighting against the stubborn chains. Finally, with a sharp snap, the lock gave way. He caught her just before she collapsed to the ground. "Come with me," he said firmly. "You're safe now." He half carried her back to his garage. Inside, he wrapped her in an old blanket, made her a cup of tea with the last of the sugar, and watched her closely. She didn't speak much, only her name, Alina. For days, she stayed there, slowly recovering. She ate the simple meals Armin cooked, slept on the small cot in the corner, and said little about who she was or where she had come from. He didn't push her for answers. He just kept repairing cars, tending to her when she needed, and treating her with kindness. But Alina noticed everything. She noticed how he worked late into the night, fixing cars for neighbors who often couldn't pay. She saw how he tucked away coins in a small jar labeled medicine for mom. She saw his patience, his humility, his quiet strength. One evening, when the storm had passed and the stars finally broke through the clouds, Alina sat beside him. "Why did you help me?" she asked softly. Armin looked at her, puzzled. "Because you needed help." "Isn't that reason enough?" Tears filled her eyes. Nobody had ever helped her without expecting something in return. What Armin didn't know was that Alina wasn't just any girl. She was the only daughter of Malik Rahman, the billionaire industrialist whose name echoed in every newspaper. But she had run away from her life of luxury, tired of being surrounded by greed and people who only cared for her wealth. When she was betrayed by so-called friends who had chained her that night in the rain as a cruel lesson, she thought the world had turned its back on her. Until Armin came along. Time passed, and Alina regained her strength. She started helping in the garage, handing him tools, cleaning, even learning to change tires. The two grew close, laughter returning to her lips as she rediscovered the warmth of simple living. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. One morning, sleek black cars rolled into the dusty street. Men in suits stormed the garage. Armin stood protectively in front of Alina as they called out, "Miss Alina, your father has been searching for you everywhere." Armin froze. "Miss Alina? Father? Searching?" His eyes widened as the truth unraveled before him. She wasn't just a girl he had found in the rain. She was an heiress, a billionaire's daughter. His chest tightened. He stepped back, feeling a wall grow between them. "You should go," he whispered. "This world a broken bar, it's not mine." Alina's heart broke. She didn't want to leave, but her father's men pulled her away, and in moments, she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of rain and grease in the air. Days turned into weeks. Armin tried to return to his routine, but the garage felt emptier than ever. He had helped countless strangers in his life, but this time, he had lost a piece of himself. Then, one morning, a brand new car pulled up outside the garage. From it stepped Alina, radiant but still carrying the same kindness in her eyes. Behind her, her father stood a powerful man with sharp features softened by gratitude. "Mr. Rahman," Malik Rahman said, his voice firm but warm, "my daughter tells me you saved her life. I owe you a debt no fortune can repay." Arman shook his head. "I don't need repayment. I only did what was right." But Malik smiled. "Then let me do what is right." He handed Arman the deed to a fully equipped workshop, along with the funds to care for his mother. Arman's hands trembled. He had never dreamed of such a gift. Yet, what meant more than the riches was the look Alina gave him, the look that said she wasn't there out of obligation. She was there because she had chosen him. Months later, Arman's garage had become one of the finest in the city. His mother received the treatment she needed, and Alina was always by his side, not as a billionaire heiress, but as the girl who had once been chained in the rain, and who had found her freedom in his kindness. So, what do we learn from this story? Sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can change the course of a life, both theirs and yours. Arman had nothing but his heart, yet it was enough to touch a soul the world called untouchable. And maybe, just maybe, the rain we walk through is never meant to drown us a broken bar, but to wash us into the path of the people we are meant to meet.